All right then. Let's see how this goes. Welcome you lot to a new location. This, if you've watched the podcasts or listened to the podcasts so far, then you'll know where this is. This, ladies and gents, is my uni accommodation. This is where I'm living in Lincoln. The view out of that window there is abysmal. I am overlooking a Halfords car park and a weird little back street and a roundabout. But yeah, I just want to check. Is this the microphone you're getting my audio from? You hear that? You should be able to. If I go on settings and just tap it, something's flashing up. Yes, bloody hell. Okay, good. I'm glad. That's how it should be. That's how these should work. These little lapel mic kits are good. I've got some wired ones that I'm using now, and you can see the wire sort of running down my shirt there. And then I've got some little ones that plug into my phone straight away as well, just into the little charging port thing, so I don't need an adapter. So we've got a bit to discuss, haven't we? The lateness of my Sheffield United vlog, for starters. I had to rush the last preview because I'd moved to uni like exactly a week ago when we did the Sheffield United preview, but I had to come back obviously for the game, so I actually permanently moved on Sunday. But I had a little awards evening at my old college on Thursday night, so that's why I had to rush that, and we didn't really get a chance to have a bit of a discussion. And well, now there's more of you here, and chat is already nice and active. I'll explain why there wasn't a Leeds vlog. And I will explain why the Sheffield United vlog was late. So Leeds vlog was filmed. I went to the Leeds game, and well, after their goal, this is the first time this has ever happened to me in all the years I've been doing this. You'd think, especially since I've become more sort of, not to blow smoke up my own backside, but well known after COVID. So because of the angle the pitch is on at Leeds, so if I'm facing the pitch here, the big screen's there. So I'm filming, trying to see what happened back. And obviously McLaughlin lost his man, Mateo Joseph scored. I was just trying to see for sure, because I was a bit of a distance away, what happened. So I could explain to camera properly what happened. I'd vlogged the whole game fine up to that point. And as I moved my head slightly and kept my camera in one position to try and look at the big screen and like look essentially around the post that was there in the stand, the bloke behind me leant over my shoulder, goes, "Did you get me on camera?" And I didn't notice him at first because I was looking at the big screen. And it's only then when I feel contact and he tries to take my phone out my hand, and at that point I sort of spring into action and sort of give him a bit back and sort of say, well, one, it's not intentional. It's obviously filming me. Two, if you're that bothered, I'll blare you out. And well, the first things first, I had to yank it to get my phone back. So that was a whole thing. And the Leeds game was depressing by the end, and I was tired and I couldn't really be bothered. And then that sort of affected how I vlogged the rest of the game. So it sort of like put me off releasing it a bit. Although I think it would be quite funny to show you the clip without his head in it. Well, that had, well, just putting his face in full view would be quite funny, but it could also probably get me in a bit of trouble. So by the end of the season, or when we next play Leeds, I might put that clip in with just his blurred face and show you what happens. Maybe in the preview, who knows? And then the Sheffield United one, yeah, the lateness was just down to the depression of the season so far and packing for uni and what have you. So you got it eventually, all right? You got it eventually. And it is just depressing having to sit back and relive those games in editing. It's so depressing, genuinely. It's, yeah, it's frustrating. And then because you're so depressed and like demoralized and not wanting to do it, I'm not putting the yellow cards in and the sub graphics on because that just takes more time. And I'm just sort of like sat editing it like this, going, "Oh, right, let's just get this freaking thing. Let's just get this fucking thing over with, shall we?" Yeah. If we get winning again, there might be a bit more enthusiasm to put a video out there. But well, for Tuesday night matches, anyway, I will be able to put one out pretty quickly because on Wednesdays I have nothing on at all at the minute, so that's quite good. Tuesday nights, no, sorry, Wednesday nights are a little bit more sort of touch and go because it's not like a set 2-week timetable or anything. But on a well, at the minute both Thursdays are 3 till 4. Well, I start at 3 o'clock, so I can, if I'm at home, sit and edit the videos properly, and then come back to Lincoln. Anyway, we've also got João Pedro potentially coming in. Striker, once of Cagliari, scored a lot of goals for them. But that player is long gone. Since leaving Cagliari in summer 2022, he has scored, I think, 4 league goals at Fenerbahce and then on loan at Grêmio back in Brazil. He's now a free agent. So I think I tweeted at the time when that link first came out from Yaish Sabunjolu in Turkey, the only reliable sports journalist in Turkey. I put, we lack an experienced goal scorer at this level, so we're going to get another striker who's never played in this league before. Better than nobody, I suppose. I needn't mention the ties with Fener. Bet he'll be on a few quid if he signs. If he signs, though. That's got 22,000 views. The quote tweets are such: since when was the Championship better than Serie A? Tell me who's available that scored goals at this level. Ties to Fenerbahce have nothing to do with it. He scored goals for Cagliari, doesn't have to be in the Championship. True. But if he was still the player that scored so many goals for Cagliari in Serie A between 2014 and when he left them to go to Fener in 2022, then he would not be remotely interested in signing for Hull City. So it's clear to me that the Fenerbahce link obviously is there, and Adjun's link over there. I think what's the best way of saying it? I think he's pulled some strings. He's going to get him in for the rest of this season as a minimum, and then a view to next season as well. I will shut up if he comes in and he scores goals, or he looks lively and has a Liam Delap-esque impact on this team. But you can't tell me he's guaranteed to come here and succeed. No way. He's scored 4 league goals since joining Fenerbahce. And I had a sort of Twitter spat at this. Not spat, but debate with some people. Like, his Serie A record, yes, is good, and it dates back to 2014. Since he's left Cagliari, he's failed in Turkey and then back in Brazil. He's gone 23 and 24 in Brazil without scoring a league goal. So he's better than nobody, but we've put ourselves in this position in having to scramble around for a striker when no other team is. And then in one of these debates, solely on Twitter, who you might know, suggested, like, Abel Hernandez, when we signed him, didn't have championship experience. Although we signed him when we're in the Premier League, I get the point he's trying to make. But for every striker that came from abroad and turned out well, you can have an example like a Benjamin Tete, where he comes in and with injuries, injuries meant Tete didn't succeed here. And it could have been different without those injuries, but the injuries happened. And the fact of the matter is that puts Benjamin Tete on the scrap heap in terms of strikers who've been brought in from abroad and have failed in England. Hernandez was also at a very, very different stage of his career to what Pedro is when he joined us in 2014 for what was then a club record fee. Abel Hernandez now is 34 years old. We signed him exactly 10 years ago. We signed, like, Hernandez was 24. That's still pretty young. So we've put ourselves in this position where we've got to go for the free agent market. So, look, like I said, he's better than nobody. He's better than nobody. I'll settle for him. And if he turns out well, I'll shut up. But if he turns out to be a flop and he's on massive wages, I told you so. I told you so. If I were in charge of the club for a week, what's the first thing I'm doing as of right now? That's such a tough question. I would, being in charge of Hull City would suggest I've got money. So I would build a time machine, go back to May, and not sack Liam Racine. The honest answer, Connor, is I don't know what the first thing I'd do, because there's been issues in the transfer market, but that's been and gone. The window's closed. The managerial appointment and changeover has been made. So there's not a lot we can do outside the transfer window apart from try and get the players to start clicking with each other. I do think I would add sanity back to the situation. HITC7's Alfie, he gets a lot of stick on Twitter, but he's right. Fundamentally, he is right. He put a video out yesterday, what is going on with Hull City, 2024 update. Again. And he nails it in terms of everything. And there's so much he didn't mention, like, the bizarre thing with Liam Cooper as to why he didn't come back, probably because Adjan saw the fans slagging him off on Twitter. / I think it's based on Liam Cooper wanted too much money for the role he was going to play. But it could be either or. Someone should have asked Adjan that at that Q&A last week. And the fact the questions he was getting were from the Tiger Cougars and can we sit in your box? Can you fly me mate over from America? The questions were just dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. The fact no one thought to ask what happened with the Liam Cooper deal. Did you pull the plug on it because you saw some fans slagging him off on Twitter? The fact no one there asked that question is mental. No one knows what happened with that deal. And the fact no one knows is a bit concerning. And I'd imagine if Baz gets the chance to talk to Tan at some point, if I get the chance to talk to Tan at some point, I will ask the question because, well, it's a matter of interest. Oh yeah, can I have a freebie on Tiger Travel? The first one, when a little kid asks for it, like, is it coming back? And Adjun goes, just for you. That's quite funny, really, because it's a little kid just asking, is free Tiger Travel going to come back? And Adjun's just come back, avoided the question by going, because you've asked me, you can have it. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one, that one. But go, if you haven't already, go and watch HITC7's video, most recent video about Hull City, because Alfie nails it in terms of the fact Adjun doesn't think we need anybody running the club with any experience. And although Tan comes across well, and I think fundamentally is good at his job, his proving ground was the Turkish FA as a strategic planner, which is one of the most disorganized FAs in the world, certainly in UEFA. Although the Riva facility where they train is belting, having been, it's mad. But yeah, so we're going to move on and we're going to talk about team news quickly because it's fresh as week at uni. I want to go to Wetherspoons. So Charlie Hughes will be absent for around a month following surgery on his appendix. Regan Slater is a doubt for the trip to Stoke due to a shoulder issue. Carl Rushworth, I've forgotten to take the apostrophe S off as I've reworded something there, but Carl Rushworth has trained following some bruising which kept him out of the defeat to Sheffield United. And both him and fellow new signing Stephen Alzate could be involved on Friday night. Ryan Longman and Dokan Sinek are making progress with regards to their injuries. Both picked up in pre-season, in light training, doing some light grass work, running, etc. Longman can do ball work. Not sure about Sinek because Longman's was on his shoulder. Andy Smith and Harry Cartwright are the absentees. Interesting. Jaden Philogene is here in Riva. Gives me goosebumps. Yeah, he didn't last long, did he? We desperately need a director of football, someone who knows the league inside and out. Well, it speaks to the disorganized nature of the summer that we did pretty much the whole window without a head of recruitment, and I put that question to Adjun about the head of recruitment in his first Q&A, and Adjun said, yeah, he's done. But he didn't get announced then for another nearly week. I think it was exactly a week that Jared Dublin was then not in post. So, well, and then it's not just that. Tan and Adjun are obviously getting experience, and so are the football brain team, TM, trademark, of course. God, that's draining it, saying football brain team over and over again. But who are they? Who are they? There's Mertan and Mustafa who've been around football for a while. I think both of them played. Mertan Agil, and I am going to look at this. Mertan Agil and Mustafa Yoke. Mertan played, he's 42. He played for Jaiko Rizespor, Kashimpasha, Adana Spor, Umranjespor, Erzurumspor, and he's now part of Adjun's brain team. I don't know what. So, if Mertan played football, what did Mustafa Yokes do? All right, so he played a bit as well. He played for Fatih Karagümrük, Kasımpaşa, Elajaspor, Agrispor, and Jorluspor. And then did he do any like management or whatever? Because he's my dad's age. He was born actually 2 days after my dad. He's not on social media. But if you Google Mustafa Yokes, he's there on Google Images. He's the first one that comes up, the sort of dark/grey haired. His middle name's Said. He might come up under that. And Adjun said that Mustafa Yokes and Mertan Acel are two important companions in my dreams in the world of football. While embarking on this journey with Tan and my purchase of Hull City, the importance of Mustafa and Mertan, the importance of the support Mustafa and Mertan have given is indescribable. I consider that they're the most important architects of my dream squad that we built today with our scout team, the unseen heroes who are always in our lives. I love you guys. So that was at Millwall, I think, 49 weeks ago. Yeah, that makes sense. So that checks out. But then there's another guy who there's another guy in that. I don't know the identities of all of the brain team, right? So I know there's obviously Adjun, there's Tan, there's Berry, Pardo, who's head of performance strategy role. Adjun says is the equivalent of a director of football. He does the job a director of football does. And to be fair to Berry, it says on his LinkedIn he's sporting director at Hull City. He started that in July last year. He was head of performance strategy from October 22 when he joined until July 23 when he got promoted to sporting director. He was first team coach and head of analysis for Istanbul Başakşehir, head of performance analysis for Fenerbahce, scout for Crystal Palace, head of recruitment for Crystal Palace, head of performance analysis and recruitment for Trabzonspor, first team analyst at Crystal Palace, first team analysis and scouting intern. So Berry is the only one who's got sort of experience in English football out of the lot of them. There's another bloke as well, little bloke, black hair, beard. I think he's called Ifer. I don't know his surname and I don't know what he does, but I think he's in the brain team because Adjun mentioned him at a Q&A and pointed to him and he was sat over there with Tan. So I think he's brain team. But like we have, and then there's obviously Jared Dublin now as well, but there's no like, there's not much English football experience there. There's no CEO. Doesn't look like there's any COO. It does make you wonder. Yeah, Connor puts it brilliantly. Alfie was 100% spot on. What he said in his video, there are massive red flags with the ownership model, but whenever somebody calls it out, they get slandered. Yeah, for me, look, there's another board member as well who I don't know her name. Let me have a look. I'll be able to get it. Hull City Board of Directors. So, all right, City's directors page on the website's blank, but the board, when the takeover happened in 2022, looks like this. So there's Adjun, there's Tan, and then there's Ebru Atashev Taranji. And Ebru is the CEO of Adjun Media. So Ebru was appointed to the board as director in February 2022, having been CEO of the Adjun Media Group for over 17 years. He was educated at the renowned Orta Doğu Teknik Middle East Technical University in Ankara. So I think because it's like under the umbrella of well, because the like Adjun Media Group own Hull City technically, because Ebru is the CEO of that, Ebru is on the board of directors here. I've never seen Ebru. I don't know what it looks like, don't know what it does. Oh wait, hang on. It says he on the website, but it's a woman. What? I'm so confused. So I was convinced it was a woman, but then City's website says he, and then you look on pictures and it's a woman. I don't know. I don't know. Rossini made the club feel so connected again with the fans. Horrible decision to sack him. Agree. I know, Owen. I know I missed a great 21s game, but I can't get to any more 21s games now. I might be able to get to one, depending on if I finish in time to get a train. I might be able to get to one when it's at Ferriby later, well, in March against Crewe. It's the only one, with it being a 7 p.m. at the minute, unless any get rearranged and they use Ferriby, that I'll be able to get to this year, and it's a crying shame. So I've lined up a few 18s. Anyway, I need to get cracking on with this. So the referee, we've waffled enough about the board, and we've established that structural changes need to be made. Ben Turner's the ref, 2 liners are Mark Stevens and Rich Woodward, 4th officials Stephen Martin. Stats from the last game look like this. Oh, look, more shots. Really? Oh, but look, only 2 on target. What a surprise. More possession, did note with it. The stats are misleading because it was a dreadful performance. Really, really was. If we look at Stoke's team, then I can't find their page on their website where they've got all the pictures. So I've got to use Wikipedia. Victor Johansson signed for them this summer from Rotherham. From last season, we've still got Andre Vidigal, Wouterberger, Bai, Ben Wilmot, Manhoof. They've signed Ben Gibson, who was at Norwich until last year. Sam Gallagher's coming from Blackburn. Ben Pearson's still there. And then, of course, they beat us to Tom Cannon from Leicester. And, well, their form, if we look at Stoke's form, if we ignore the Fleetwood game, because it was against it was against Fleetwood, but we'll count that game because it's against a championship team. But you know what? We'll just go league games. They've won 1, 2 out of the 5 league games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. So anyway, I'm losing track. They beat Coventry 1-0, lost 3-0 to Watford, lost 2-1 to West Brom, beat Plymouth 1-0, then lost 1-0 to Oxford, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back for John Walters, their sporting director, and he sacked Stephen Schumacher, and they have brought in their new manager. I've forgotten his name. Just give us a sec. Narcis Pelach. I don't know who he is, but the fact they've got a manager means we probably won't win. Our form, while we're at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 draws to start the season off, score draws against Bristol City and Plymouth, then 0-0 to Millwall, then 2 0 defeats on the bounce to Leeds and Sheffield United, 2 teams who are up there, and they were essentially free hits. We said that, but I don't think there is any such game as a free hit, to be honest. We learnt last season that you can't catch up, and I think well, to put it bluntly, any hope of getting any better than last season, in case you weren't aware, has evaporated because we've had such a terrible start and you cannot play catch up. Borough had a poor start and they got close, but not close enough. What are the odds Cardiff sacked their manager before we played them? Leeds back to Cardiff is 100% being sacked before our game. What are the chances Acun replaces Tim Walter with Errol Bulut? Turkish. Championship experience. What are the chances? You know what? I could sort of see it as well. I could really, really see it. And that's a shame. The league table then. Look where Stoke are. 2 wins in the first 5. That's not bad. It's harsh that they've sacked Schumacher. I'd quite like him if we sacked Walter, to be honest. And then there. One of 3 teams yet to win a game. Oh dear. Oh dear. Around the grounds, we're the only game on Friday night. And then 12:30 games on Saturday are QPR versus Millwall, Sunderland versus Borough. It's a good game there. And Norwich versus Watford. The 3 o'clocks are Bristol City versus Oxford, Burnley versus Portsmouth, Cardiff versus Leeds. Surely the last game of the Errol Bulut era. Coventry versus Swansea, Luton versus Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United versus Derby, and West Brom versus Plymouth. And then on Sunday at 12, it's Preston versus Blackburn. Our memorable matches from this time a year ago when we played them. First time we've won at Stoke's ground in normal time, because we beat them on penalties in the Cup when we were in the Premier League. But this is the first time we've beaten them since since 8 days after I was born in January 2006. Connolly, Traore and Slater scored the goals. Vidigal got a consolation. The team was all sopping goal. Who was man of the match that day? Christie, Jones, Greaves and Vinagre, the back 4. Midfield was, this was when Slater was wide right, not wide left. It was Seri, Morton, Traore midfield. No. Yeah, Traore would have been right wing, wouldn't he? So it was Morton, Seri, Slater midfield, Traore right, Philogene left and Connolly up top. Bench. Ingram, McLaughlin, Tufan, Aliar, Syed, Manesh. Oh, man. what could have been Liam Delap, Jason Lakilo, James Furlong, Andy Smith, and Scott Twine with Rossignol in charge. And then the last time out, we're not going to talk about the result or the performance. It just happened, okay? It just happened. Allsop in goal, back four, Coyle, Jones, McLaughlin, Giles, Greaves suspended. Midfield, Seri, Slater, Cav, Valio. Wings were Philogene and Zaruri with Noah Ohio up top. Bench was Panda the keeper, Tufan, Traore, Sharp, Morton, Jacob, Christie, Connolly, and Abdush Umar. And then our record against Stoke, the Britannia Bet365, under all its guises, has always been a tough place for us to go. We've got one win in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meetings with them. Oh dear. Shared shirts then. We'll look at, I just mentioned him, Liam Delap. I struggled to find a niche one until I'd already made my Delap graphic, but I know who I'm using when we next play Stoke. It's a good one. It was with Stoke on loan for half of the 22-23 season from Man City, 23 appearances, 3 goals for them. For us, the stats don't really show it, 32 appearances, 8 goals for the 23-24 season, but the impact he had on that team. And had he not been injured, he'd have scored 10, 15 goals. And we'd probably been in the playoffs. And Rossignol might be managing here still and not in Strasbourg, whom finished 13th in Ligue 1 last season. And he has, well, to put it bluntly, had a very decent start with them. They've only lost once in their first 4 games. And he's got quite a decent team at his disposal at Strasbourg as Liam Rossignol. He's taken Justin Walker and I think Ben Warner with him as well, because when I was doom scrolling the other day, Ben Warner's LinkedIn says he's head of analysis at RC Strasbourg Alsace. Good on him. He's got Petrovic and Andre Santos and Caleb Wiley all on loan from Chelsea. He's signed Mamadou Sarr, who's a good young centre-back from Lyon. He's got Sekou Mara, who was at Southampton. They got a goalkeeper in from Bordeaux as well, so they've capitalised on a tragedy for another French side. So he's got a fairly okay team at his disposal. Obviously, the headline names are Petrovic and Santos and Caleb Wiley. But yeah, he's got a decent side at his disposal. Has Liam Rossignol? It's a young team. It's a very, very young team. But Rosie had that here. If we replace Tim with Errol, there'll be 8,000 in the stadium again. Wouldn't surprise me, really. Yeah, the meltdown would be hilarious. Nigel Adkins would do a better job. But Aliyah balling out right now, man. Hurts. Predicted team then. I think Panda keeps his place in goal. Although it wouldn't surprise me if Rushworth comes straight in. We'll see. Coyle at right back, 2 centre-backs, Jones and McLaughlin. Left back, I think he's dropping Ryan Giles and playing Cody Drama. I really do. Midfield, I don't think he'll drop Malem, although I would, and I'd just chuck Puerta in at the deep end or Alzate alongside Zambrano. And, well, I have dropped Abdush. I think Casey Palmer showed enough. And it's harsh on Abdush, I know it is, but Casey Palmer came on and made a difference. And I think had Slater not been a little doubt, I think he'd have started as well, because he made a really, really positive impact when he came on the other night. On the right, Abu Kamara. On the left, Liam Miller. And up top, Chris Badia. On the bench, Carl Rushworth, Ryan Giles, Abdush Irma, Finn Burns, Xavi Simons, Stephen Alzate, who I think will get some minutes off the bench, Gustavo Puerta, who I hope gets some minutes off the bench, Mohamed Baloumi, and Mason Bairstow. And yeah, we are missing Seri, aren't we? It's almost as if we would always have missed Jean-Michael Seri. And predicted score-wise, well, need I say anything more than the best I can see is a 0-0 or a 1-1 draw? Genuinely, the best I can see is a draw. I can't see where a goal comes from, let alone a win at the moment. It's negative. I hate being negative, but it's fact. When I'm negative, it's because it's true. Yeah, all right. And what I will say before I go is, Jez Pete, I'm not sure who you are, mate. Drop us a message. But I'm going to assume Thomas is my mate Leo's dad, considering you said sorry, Leo, in there. Jez will be back. And you'll have to drop me a message, mate. My mind's gone blank. But yeah, right. That's all we've got time for, because I need to get a quick change and then go out to Spoons for a beer or two, or maybe 3. So thank you for watching, everyone. I won't be going out tomorrow because I'll be sitting in watching the game, and then I'll talk to you on here about what I make of it. All right, see you later, everyone. Take care, up the Tigers. Goodbye. My mouse moved and I clicked the wrong button, because that Poppy one, that's just saved on there forever. So around the remembrance match time, I can just use it. But here we go. See you later, everyone. God, up the Tigers. Goodbye.